but it happened last night, so.
Okay, Ernie, we're ready.
Just to let you know, George will understand this. There's a benefit for Jewish people to have a circumcision. People who are not circumcised, so if you're diabetic, it can close up, called phimosis, where they cannot reveal their member because it's so tight that the foreskin cannot be pulled back. So sometimes that it's very tight and it gets pulled back, so it's behind the glands. That's called acute paraphimosis. That's
Very painful.
not only is it painful, it can
But it's
strangulate the blood
absolutely.
supply to the tip. And the emergency room doctors, they couldn't
Reduce it.
Needed some WD-40.
exactly. In fact, the patient had to go to the operating room.
Wow.
Usually you can reduce it, but the patient has to be somewhat cooperative because it's uncomfortable. So you give them morphine and you try to do it with them awake, but sometimes you can't do it. Sometimes you can't do it.
A little bit too much information.
No, it's just so you appreciate the fact that you were all circumcised at 8 days. You don't have to go through any of those issues. It's a bracha.
That's right.
Okay.
I guess that's why you became a urologist, Ernie, to make the brochas for us.
Okay. So Mario,
Yes, we're ready.
ready. Okay. Yud Ches, 18. Kosval Shnei Dapin. Let's say you wrote it on two different pieces that were not stuck together. Psula. Meaning like a Sefer Torah, it's connected. So if you wrote it on two separate ones, it's possible. Because Sefer Echad Rachman v'lo shnayim u'shlosh sfarim. It's got to be one piece of parchment, not two or three. Because the Torah wrote Sefer, which is a unity. Because of os achas, u'mochak os achas. You wrote a letter, I mean, you didn't dissolve it and erase it in one shot. You wrote a letter and dissolved it, wrote a letter and dissolved it. Because of os achas, u'mochak os achas, psula. It's invalid. You got to write the whole thing and then dissolve it. Boy, Rava. Rava asked the following theoretical scenarios. Kosav shtei megilos l'shtei sotos. You have two women who were brought to the base of Mikdash, and you wrote two parchments for two women. But umachkan l'toch kos echad ma'u. He dissolved it in one kli. Do we say ksiva lishma ba'inan va'ika? We need a ksiva for an individual. You can't have a ksiva generically. You have to write it with this woman in mind. And in this case, you have that. Maybe you need the erase. The erasement has to be lishma for that woman. And so the Gemara doesn't answer. The Gemara, the poskim learned that it's possible if you dissolve both in one. Because you see, the Havamin of the Gemara takes up that if you're going to tell me that, yes, even the erasure has to be lishma, you erased it individually, but then and then you mix the waters together. Do we say you need erasing for that woman, and that existed. Odilma, now, once you mixed it and you gave them to drink from the mixture, they each didn't drink from their own one. So the din is it's possible if you did it that way. You're going to tell me it doesn't work because each one didn't drink their own. Now you took the combination in one and you separated them out. Now, the water got mixed up. Do we say yesh breira? Do we use a Talmudic mechanism called breira, which is retroactive designation? Do we say, well, retroactive will say the water that this woman drank is her water? Or do we say ein breira? So the din is, lachatchila, if you did it, you shouldn't give them to drink. But if they drank, it's kosher. Because the Rambam holds, since this was answered with a teiku, but you have to go back and do it again, misafek. That's how the Rambam learns. Boy Rava. Hishka besiva. Let's say you drank it through some kind of barrier, like a palm grass. Or bishfofer, if you use a straw. Mao. Derech shtiyabakach or ein derech shtiyabakach. Do we say that that's normal drinking or not? So the answer is teiku. Again, it's left without an answer. Boy Ravashi nishbuchu mehen. If some of it spilled, v'nishtayrumen, but some is left, can she drink that? Ma'u teiku. Lechatchila, you shouldn't give it to drink, but if she drank it, it's kosher, because the Rambam paskins for something that was not answered by the Gemara, you don't have to be machmir bal sofek. Amrav Zermara. Shtei shvuas amur spesota lama. There are two oaths, one in pasuk Yutes, one in pasuk Chafal. Why do you need two? One, she takes an oath before the Megillah is dissolved, and the other after. What are you talking about? Both psukim are written prior to the Torah talking about erasing the Megillah. So El Amra v'achas shvua sheyeshima Allah, v'achas shvua she'enim Allah. One shvua has a curse in it. The other curse shvua does not have a curse. Now, heichi dami shvua sheyeshima Allah. Which is the shvua that has the curse? Amra Rav. We say mashbiani alayich shelo nitmes. Take a shvua that you did not commit adultery. She'in nitmes yavoveh. Because if you did commit adultery, the waters will penetrate. Amar Rava ala l'chuda kaima, ushvur l'chuda kaima. Here is not a mixture. The mashbiani aleich is the shvua, and she'im nitmes yavoveh is the klala. So the klala stands alone, and the shvua stands alone. It's not mixed. El Amar Rava says it's mashbiani alayich. I make you take a shvua she'im nitmes. That if you truly had committed adultery, the water should penetrate. On Rav Ashi, well, Allah Ika, Shavua Leka. It's not a Shavua that She'im Nitmes. That's not a standard Shavua. On Rav Ashi, Mashbiani Allah Shalom Nitmes. You have to take a Shavua directly that you did not commit adultery. Not She'im Nitmes Yavoveh. The Im Nitmes Yavoveh. Then you have Shavua and klala. Mishnah. Almahi oimeres amen amen. She says a double amen. Amen ala Allah, amen ala shvu. Amen on the curse, amen on the oath. Not only that. Amen me ish zeh, amen me ish acher. The husband warned her not to go into a room alone with a specific man. So one amen is for the man that the husband was suspicious of. But the other amen is even for another man that she might have had adultery with. So it's a double amen, and the water will work if she committed adultery with somebody else. Amen shelo satiti arusa unesua v'shomeres yovim uknusa. Meaning, she's been taken up here to the base of English for a specific episode where he warned her not to go into a room alone with Chaim Yankel. But the second amen is he had given her kiddushin, where she's usher to live with somebody else. So if she secretly had lived with somebody else, or as a married woman, or if her husband had died without sons, and she's waiting to have the brother be miyabim her or marry her, and for example, it's a case where a brother had done yibum and then warned her, the shvur shalonit meis goes back to when she was a lady in waiting, where she's usher to live with anybody else, where she was waiting for that brother to marry her. Amen shalonit meis, and amen that I did not commit adultery. V'nit meisi yavobi, and if I had committed adultery, the water should work on me. Reb Meir learns different. Reb Meir, amen shalonit meisi, and amen shalo etame, that in the future I won't commit adultery. I mean, HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what we're going to do, so that the waters will work if for some reason in the future she was going to commit adultery. Pretty strange. Akol shavin shein masta ima, but we don't include law kodem shezisares, that she fooled around before she had kiddushin. At that point, she's not usher to live with someone. I mean, she's usher mishum znus, but it's not an erva. V'lal achar shetisgarish, or let's say after he divorces her and she lives with somebody. Those things, there's no prohibition. Nistra le'echad v'nit meis. She was warned and she had relations. And the achar kach echzira. Now, a husband's not allowed to remarry her if that happened, but he did it. Lo haya masne ima. Then he would not make her take a shvua that she did not commit adultery after a divorce. Because even in that case, there's no prohibition after there's a divorce. If she had relations with a man, but there was no prohibition, then if there's no shvur that includes those. You have Reuven and Shimon. Reuven dies without children. Shimon, the woman is now connected through Zika to Shimon. Shimon is supposed to do Yibum, but before he gets around to do Yibum, she sleeps with somebody else. Now, that's a lav. It says, Lo sieh eshes hameis achutza leish zar. The widow should not have relations with a strange man while before either Yibum was done or Chlitza. So the din is, if the lady in waiting was Mizaneh, Asur Liyavama, then Shimon cannot do Yibum to her anymore. Mimai. Midiktani Shomeres Yavam Meknusa was listed in this mission as one of the prohibited times where she can't have relations. So if she's prohibited, if there's a prohibition, that's why it's included in the Shvua. But if there was no prohibition, it wouldn't be included in the Shvua. So Amri B'Marava, less Hilchas Akravamuna. This is not correct. Shomeres Yavim Shezinsa is not Asur Liyibma. Elohadik Tani Shomeres Yavim Uknusa Amani Rabbi Kivahi. This Mishnah, where it includes is Shomeres Yavim, is Rabbi Kiva. We know Rabbi Kiva holds that even when you violate Chayve Lavin, it's like it creates mamzeris. It's an erva. Ein kiddushin toisa mechavilavin. Umashvila ki erva. The din is not like Rabbi Kiva. If you have a lady in waiting or committed adultery during that period of time, the Yavim can marry her. Not like Rav Nuna. So that's an interesting din. Boy Rav Yirmiyah. Maushi Yasna Adam on the Sunnah Rishonim. That means if a man divorced his wife and then took her back, and he's now in the second marriage, and he brings her up to the Sotah for the second marriage, he can be Magal the Shvua on the first time that they were married. Right? And that's what the Gemara asks. Marshi has Adam on the Sunnah. Honestly, Achiv Mau. Or he did Yibum to one of his brother's wives. He can do it based on when she was married to the brother. He can be Magagal those periods of time because it was usher for her to live with another man. So he can step in the shoes of the dead brother. Torshma. Those things that are prohibited are nami masted. Shmami, no, it's a good raya that he's allowed to be Magagal Shvu on those issues as well. Rameir Emar Amen Shalonit Mesi. One of the amens is that I didn't commit adultery. And amen that I won't do it in the future. Tanya, Lokasham Rameir Amen Shalonit Tamei. She'im Titami Maim Boit Kimosome Hashem. The halacha is not like Rameir. That now the water is going to work on her if in the future she's mizana. No, Ela Cheshetitame. Mayin Marinosa. That in the future, if she commits adultery, the water will work on her then. So it doesn't work on her now, but it would work, it'll sort of stay dormant until if in the future she commits adultery, it'll work on her. Boy Ravashi, Maushi Yasna Adam al Nisui Machroinim. He says in the future that if I divorce her and take her back, she won't be Mizana when I take it back? That's the question. Yes, Walter.
Let me ask you, is there anywhere recorded on anything that there was a case of this?
So that's a machlokes. We're going to see a Gemara that's going to say Sota Lohaya V'lo Nivra. That it never occurred. Like Irani Dachas, there's an opinion that this case of Irani Dachas Lohaya V'lo Nivra. There's a case Ben Sorer Umorer Lohaya V'lo Nivra. But there are opinions that say they did occur. So it's a machlokes Tanoim, the answer to your question.
And the machlok is Tanoim, but there's no ever recorded a case where this did happen. The soita water was drunk and the person
I just said it's a machlokas.
No, I'm saying
There's Tanoim that hold that it did occur.
I hear what you're saying. No, I understand what you're saying.
And there's an opinion that says it never occurred.
No, so but there's no hochachot. There's no.
Yeah, we don't have, for example, Josephus Flavius, who wrote about Bayis Sheni.
You're right.
He never describes this.
Right. So there's no historic data.
No.
On this.
Not that I know.
On Ira Nidachat, on Soita, on Ben Soira Moire.
That's the Ferishtik Gemara. That Ben Soira Moire lo Haya V'lo Nivra never occurred. And then there's up and no, it occurred and I saw him. You remember the times it occurred and I saw the kid. Blah, blah,
yeah,
blah.
Yeah.
We had the Gemara like that.
Okay.
Do we say Hashtamiya lo asirale? Right now, after a divorce, he's not prohibited. Some husbands divorce and remarry them. So Toshma Kol Shavin Shlaya Masli Malo Kodim Shetisaris, Vol Acha Shetisgarish. Nistra Leachad Nitmes Vachach Yazirena Lo Ayamasta. They didn't make her take the oath on after he took her back. But Hayach Zirena V'titome, but to say that I'm going to take you back and you're going to commit adultery, Achanami Demasni. So that's included as well. And the halacha is we include that. Mami no. Ton Rabbana. Zois Toiras Aknos. Melamed Sha'isa Shoisa V'shoina. If a woman had been suspected once of being a sota, and the husband took her up to the base of Medish and she drank, can she drink again? Another man, another episode, or is this like what is it like in court? If you get off, it's that's it. There's a legal term that I'm forgetting.
Double jeopardy.
There's no double jeopardy. That means she goes through it once. So the Tanakhama says, "Shoyse v'shoyna." Rabbi Yehuda Omer Zois she'eina isha shoyse v'shoyna. Rabbi Yehuda says, "No, she can't be brought through this process twice from the same husband. But if the guy dies, gets married to a new husband, the new husband can take her. So legabe, the woman, it's not a guarantee. Legabe, one husband once. That's all. That Nechunya gave testimony that a woman with the same husband was repeated. However, the edus
With two husbands.
The data that we got from the Chunya was you cannot repeat it with one husband, but you can with the second husband. Chachamim say no. Even a second husband, she can't drink twice. I v'tanakam nami aksiv zois. To be mamait, and Rabban and Basroi Nami, Haksiv Toiras, the same husband and the adulterer, you can only drink once. Let's finish. You test Ahmed Aleph. Well, we'll finish tomorrow.
Shkoyach, Ernie.
Ernie, Shkoyach,